So today, wonderful project that I've been avoiding, swapping out brake hoses on my little baby here. Yeah, I did ball joints and tie rod ends on it a couple weeks back. Well, I guess it's been over a month now. But noticed there was some cracking in the outer casing on everything. Normally I pull this all the way in the garage, but I have another project in the garage, so it's not happening today. But yeah, there was it's not particularly bad, but it's bad enough that it needs to be addressed. And I got a trip coming up, and I really don't feel like using a brake line coming down a mountain pass. It'd be rather inconvenient. Go up another click. Fortunately, this car does not have really good pick points for the frame to set the jack stand on it. The beds on this car are 22 millimeter. Soaked a little bit. Gotta get it all soaking. I don't know what sizes those are. Of course, says per always, the one you need is the one that's missing. Yeah. Pull. It's actually going to come loose. I guess I need like a 15 mil. Oh, okay. Throw a little drip tray in there too. While we're at it. I really don't feel like making a mess on the ground today. Pull that hinge nice and apart. Been kind of avoiding this job because I really don't feel like running brakes. It's not so bad when you have some help, but when you're by yourself, it kind of sucks. I've used vacuum bleeders on many occasions, but found that they don't always work the way I want them to. So I have another way to do it now that's had pretty good success. It's loose. go get a rag and wipe that down. I'll show you what problem was with these. So, right at the hard flex points there, there's a whole bunch of like little fine cracks. It's probably not coming through very well on the camera for you. But yeah, usually anywhere there's a hard metal fitting, that's where you're going to see the failures happen, or where it's rubbing. Let's see what we got. You know, these are an aftermarket one, but freaking close enough. Got a lot of good luck with this particular company and making parts. And I've had very few of them that I've had that I've really complained about the fit and finish on. Right. Tight. Really important when you're putting all this back together is make sure the hard lines where they've made up to the rubber lines do not twist the end of the freaking hard line. And that is that. Also a really big fan of scrubbing everything down, or wiping everything off when you get done. So that way when you do your leak, you can actually leak test it and see if anything's coming out. Everything's all sopping wet, you won't see anything. Alright. This gets set up to bleed this one side and before I do the other side. I like to do them one at a time when makes it a lot easier to get all the air out when you're not fighting two sides at the same time. Alright. So this is what I found to be the easy way. Get a real and it's worked fairly consistently for me. I haven't had any problems doing it this way. So kind of the problem with the vacuum pumps is as soon as you crack this bleed screw loose, you have to hold a lot of pressure on it to make it not just sucking air there. You're not actually purging the system. So what I like to do is just crack it where it's just loose. It doesn't take very much force to let the fluid slip by. And then when I go in, and I put my little bleed bottle up as high as I can get it. So that way then as you're pumping, it'll fill up the hose. And then when you draw back, it'll draw back a little bit. But eventually you just burp all the stuff out and it's no big deal. Start cycling this. important to not handle brake fluid as much as possible. Brake fluid is actually a neurotoxin. It's not good stuff. I do my best to always wear gloves when I'm doing brake work like this. Even doing oil changes, the oil soaks through your skin. My automotive school instructors many years ago actually was dealing with cancer associated with all the garbage that he's absorbed through his skin through decades of automotive repair. So I always keep that in the back of my mind that stuff is nothing to play around with. But yeah, now I'll just top off the reservoir and go do the other side. Bring you guys back when I'm all done. Oh yeah, and one more thing that may seem stupid at the time, or where I'm at, there's quite a bit of moisture. I always like to put a little dab of anti-seize on the, I hate this stuff, but I love this stuff at the same time. It gets everywhere, it just makes a mess. But when you're putting on brake rotors, or I always like to throw it on any kind of stud like this, where it gets exposed to moisture. But just having it around this flange here will allow the rotors to come off nicely, make the wheels come off nicely. I hate having to beat on a frickin' tire to break it loose from a hub because no one bothered to clean it up or anti-seize it. The corrosion builds up right there and locks it on solid. But yeah, just a little blob on the studs, and it makes a world of difference the next time you tear something apart. I was doing some work on a friend's little Ford Escort. And the thing was, that was the exact case of why you should use anti-seize, because everything was rusted solid. We were sledgehammering the tires trying to get them to break loose, and every single fastener fought us. And my wife's car, which was basically an identical car in an identical climate, with almost the same mileage. It was a whole different car to take apart. I happen to know that particular gun, and when the number 2 setting puts it all about 110, 115 foot-pounds real consistently. So I'll go around, do my crisscross pattern on the number 1 setting, then hit it with the number 2 setting, and that's all the more I need. I believe this car is 90, 95 foot-pounds, so they're a little over-tightened, but again, things that are helpful when you put anti-seize on there, it allows you to run them a little tight and not worry about breaking studs off when you go to pull it all apart. All back together. So, and this is such a simple job. I would really hate to pay a dealership for something like this, or other auto shop. That's the only reason I have this car is because I can work on it. If I didn't, I couldn't afford it. This probably would have been a $15,000 to $20,000 car with everything that was wrong with it by the time you got done paying a shop. And I'm not into it I'm basically into it for blue book value, because wouldn't sell at a dealer due to all the problems with it. And I took it on a gamble because it had a nice body and had some mechanical problems. And I was like, well, I'll just dive in and give it a shot, see what I get. And it's put about 10,000 miles on it now. probably about 7,000-8,000 miles on the rebuilt transmission that I had to do. The rest of it's kind of working itself out. Getting there. One of these days it'll be done. Well, done-ish. Yeah. Cars you put a lot of miles on are never done. But it's sure been nice to me for the last few months. Alright. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, that is this is the worst of the two lines. You see that big old crack right there. Not good at all. Alright, back to the work. Alright, let's make sure we don't have any warning lights. And that's a good sign right there. So, alrighty then. Take this thing around, make sure it stops okay. Seems to be alright. Throw a seatbelt on before I take it out on the road. It doesn't really feel any worse than what it was before. And I've never opened the braking system up on this car before. I've only just done, I've avoided it as much as possible because I hate bleeding brakes, even though it's not that hard. If you ever have a hard time bleeding them, it could be hours and hours of headache. So, yeah, seems to be stopping okay, so I'm betting we're going to be good. So, that's about all for today.